Wicked City is a supremely gross classic anime film of the highest quality, as well as directorial debut of one Mr. Yoshiaki Kawajiri. If the name sounds familiar, it's probably because he was behind a personal favorite we covered a bit ago, Ninja Scroll. He's also the director of next week's topic, Vampire Hunter D: Bloodlust. The man's a genius, what can I say? Launched in 1987 and based off the Blackguard book series, Wicked City is a no-holds-barred raunch fest. I mean, you think you've seen it all, and then here comes this movie and well, we'll get into it. This week, the team and I looked hard for a real horror anime, something that gives you chills and stays with you for days when you're alone. What we came up with was nothing. The closest thing to horror was Lilycat, but only in the formulaic sense. See, I like horror cause I'm which isn't politically correct to say, so tell your giant vagina I'm sorry. Basically, being scared is easy for me. Anime just hasn't done it yet. So instead, we're going full gross out. Behind the blaring gyno-erotophobic imagery of Wicked City is an incredibly interesting and well-realized piece of art that should not be forgotten. A seminal work, pun intended, from a man who knows how to bring an engaging story to life. A story of a secret agent and a demon lady protecting the peace between realms against agents of terror who really do not take no for an answer. This is Wicked City. Let's get into it. Hey, it's Mike. Welcome to the third installment of Bonsai Pop's Hellmouth. This month we are covering horror and dark fantasy anime to celebrate the coming of Samhain. This is a Patreon-driven channel, so to celebrate, we are watching everything we're covering this month and our viewing parties each and every week, so we hope that you come and join the fun. Patreon.com/bonsaipop. Prepare for some pixelation in this one, my beautiful viewers, and let's get wicked. The movie starts off with the demon lady stealing Taki's jizz. What the hell, lady? Don't steal his jizz. That's theft, man. Not to mention that vagine dentata she's got going on. That's entrapment. Basically, when I saw this, I knew I was in for something good, but let's back up a little bit. Renzaburo Taki is a playboy womanizer. Does he deserve to get his danger hacked off by a spider lady? Definitely not, but his attitude is super 80s masculine. He needs to calm down a little bit. Regardless, this movie is not for the faint of heart. It's heavy on the not for chitlins vibes here. Our setting is an alternative Tokyo, a city constantly under the pressure of the demon realm, which is only kept at bay due to a peace treaty that's renewed by each of the world's respective leaders every 500 years, anime stuff. The treaty is enforced by each realm's Black Guard, an elite police force that keeps the knowledge of the two realms a secret from the general populace. We're right at the cusp of the treaty's renewal, and demonic extremists, terrorists are waging an all-out assault on the human realm in an attempt to kill one of the treaty's signers, Giuseppe, a perverted 200-year-old psychic and mystic. Taki, who had just barely escaped with his dong, is an electronics salaryman by day and a blackguard by night. He's assigned to Maillart's security along with another blackguard from the demon world, a partner he's introduced to while getting the piss beaten out of him by demon terrorists. And of course, she's a babe. Maki is a demon lady. She's super fast. She can grow a pretty intense French manicure, which she uses to slice and dice the opposition. And also, I guess she has hair powers. I don't know. I'm sure it's explained more in the book. Anyway, all the pair have to do is keep this wrinkled boner-driven grandpa child alive for a single night so he can re-sign the peace treaty between the two realms and things will be good. But they manage to screw that up at every turn. Between their infantile package and the demon terrorists who are after them, Taki and Makie put their lives on the line in a long night full of horrors. What I find interesting is the use of demons in this film. They're almost unnecessary. Wicked City could easily be a mob movie if you simply took out the fantasy aspect. But I suppose a lot of fictions with demons in them could be mob movies. It's the dichotomy of monsters themselves depending on your outlook. Obviously things like The Exorcist primarily scare people of religious beliefs, but for the rest of us, I think demons represent our inner awful repressed aggression and hate. What's the difference between a demon and, say, Ted Bundy? It's legitimately hard to quantify. Unfortunately for Makie and Taki, taking care of Giuseppe for a night is harder than imagined. The man is in 1980s Tokyo, baby! He just wants to hit those cabarets and get that happy ending massage. But instead, he's locked up in some spirit hotels so the demons can't get him. But then the demons break through to get him, Because reasons. It's important to note that not much is explained in the film, you kind of just take it as it goes. Taki has a dope gun that shoots blue stuff, which apparently demons don't like. The guy who runs the hotel isn't named, but Taki calls him master, and he wields a cool sharp thing on a chain. It's all spectacle, and I can appreciate that. Ironically, the demon invader doesn't go for Giuseppe. Instead, after knocking out Taki and maiming Mr. Plays Chess a lot, he decides to give Makie the non-consensual DJ hero. It's revealed that having the old in-out with demon woman is the utmost pleasure you can achieve. It's supposedly better than Los Drogas, better than the bang bang with regular woman, even better than a pony mare that's JRH NBR. People would kill for it. And even though it literally sucks the life force from the male or female too, I would imagine, they still seek it out. It's like as good as your buddy claims to be. It's that good. It also takes the idea of a woman's body being an object of pleasure and expounds upon it tenfold. Pick an ad in a magazine or any casino billboard and you'll quickly realize that women's bodies are used to ignite those pleasure senses, so you'll give your dollars to whatever brand that naked lady represents. It's not good for women, it's not good for your wallet, and in Wicked City, it's literally as bad as it can get for your very well-being. Wicked City takes everything to the next level. Odd, sensual experiences that end with the male being nearly consumed by the female's body. It's so fetishistic I can't even tell if it's commentary on addiction or just straight up anime prawn. It gives the impression that all demon women are essentially yuki-onna, Japanese lady spirits that often behave like succubi, draining a victim's life force through the heavy petting, preying on weak-willed men. It wasn't until the 18th century that yuki-onna were viewed in anything but an evil light, and Wicked City makes use of both light and dark-sided female demons. The balance is intriguing. Speaking of which, during the whole frat boys are us moment in the hotel, Giuseppe decided to bounce on over to a naughty masseuse. The next time we see him, he is literally being sucked into a gigantic pair of bazungas. It's an Oedipus complex in motion. It's hot and horrifying at the same time, like a post-surgery carrot top. This is, of course, after Taki loads Makie's attacker full of blue lead. One of the things I find most interesting about Wicked City is their use of women as the focus of their horror, especially their bodies. Typically, a horror antagonist is a male role. Consider the most critically renowned horror films: Halloween, The Shining, Nightmare on Elm Street, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, It. Pick a horror pop culture icon, and it is undoubtedly a male. To find a horror and an anime that breaks that mold is definitely unique, and it's part of what makes Wicked City so different. The horror comes from something most people like, the bang-a-lang, but twisted and deformed into nightmares. Pound Town isn't supposed to be a scary place. However, it often can be. We're brought up to fear the penetration, or at least be cautious about it, to fear the consequences of it. And that stigma doesn't really break as we get older. For women, it's worse because of the physical damage that can be done. Wicked City exonifies that fear, twists it into form, and it gives the power to the woman while also highlighting their vulnerability. It's complicated. The movie feeds into paranoia from our pubescent years that we haven't consciously thought of for a good while, at least until you finish the deed and cry for no reason. But that's a new kind of horror. Giuseppe is rescued from the breasticles, and now on the lam, the trio are sucked into the demon realm. In order to let Taki and Giuseppe escape, Makie sacrifices herself in a scene Zone Tan would be jealous of. Of course, it's Tentacles. Meanwhile, Giuseppe is dying from having his life force sucked out of him while he was nestling up to those giant sweater yams. Taki gets him to the spirit hospital, but then leaves to rescue Makie, abandoning not only his post, but also his position as a blackguard. Meanwhile, in the demon realm, Makie's being turned into a hot dog bun with port and starboard attachments, you know what I mean? The pipe is being laid, but the landowner never signed off on it. It's real gross. Not to mention, it's also the third time in like an hour this is happening. However, I'm gonna mark spoiler territory here. If you haven't watched Wicked City, the ending comes out of nowhere, so consider yourself warned, and I just don't want to give away the best part, which is coming up right now. Go watch it. Come back. We'll see you then. Taki shows up in the demon realm to rescue Makie, but is confronted by a lady that literally turns into a crotch monster. A walking squish mitten. A demonic ham wallet. You get the point. This is about the time I also got the point. The city is wicked. It's full of temptations, horrible things happen there, the law can't keep up, organized crime runs rampant. It's so easy to get lost, to lose yourself amongst the horde of anonymity, to fall into the wrong crowd and lose yourself. And what better to lose yourself in than carnal pleasure? Meanwhile, Taki is neck deep in a talking gut locker. I mentioned the Oedipal complex earlier, basically wanting to bang but also kill your mom. It's Freudian psych. It turns out that there's a lot of twisted Freudian psychology in this film. Eros and Thanos returning to the womb, it's all here. The womb is a place of safety, isolation, and peace. Eros is the will to live. Thanos is the drive for death. All of these concepts are warped into this moment where Taki returns to the place which gives life, the beginning of Eros, but it's being controlled by the concept of Thanos. Peace, death, bringing of life, safety, they're all melded into this one moment. It's pretty deep stuff for a front butt monster. And just as he's about to die inside the evil fish wrinkle, Taki blows her away with his cool ass gun. Fighting happens, there's a big inconsequential bad guy, Makie and Taki escape, they're fired. On their way back to Tokyo, who pops up but Giuseppe? Just in time for Weenie McMunchie to show back up and totally wreck the day. A Maki-Taki BDSM burrito is made, but the pair are mysteriously saved by blue light, which bug zaps the spider lady. Then the weirdest thing happens. In a dreamlike sequence, Makie and Taki finally get it on. But need I remind you that 3 times in this one single night, Makie has been taken against her will. And that's only 3 times if you count the separate occasions, because in the last time, there was like 4 dudes, and she's still down to fuck. To be honest, the only thing I can surmise is she's a demon? There's literally no other way to justify that. It was just super, super strange. Also, somehow Taki doesn't get his life force sucked out. Basically, treat others right, no means no, and let's move on from this weirdness. So, the bad guy demon terrorist leader comes back and Giuseppe goes Dragon Ball Z on his ass, and it turns out that Makie and Taki weren't protecting him, he was protecting them. That's some Shyamalan-esque shit right there. The pair, Makie and Taki, were genetically engineered to be able to conceive a human-demon hybrid in order to end the fighting between the human and demon realms. Not only that, but Makie is already pregnant with Taki's kid. What? So that's why the spider lady tried to steal Taki's jizz. It's the good stuff. Regardless, the trio do the fighting and things end up cool. Even after his traumatic experience with the baby gravy stealer, Taki has found a way to love a demon lady. The movie ends with him back on the job and hope for the future of his child. Along the journey, women were objectified, men were killed, and almost castrated for their shameless lust. Now we got 2 people from different realms who finally did the deed in a way that was not generally threatening and was actually consensual. I mean, it was mostly consensual because, you know, the whole thing was orchestrated. All I can say is wow. You know, sometimes there isn't a whole lot to take away from things, but there's something to be said of this ending. On the surface, it was a nice twist, unexpected, and sums up what they went through nicely, giving the couple a happy ending after many close calls. But then I started thinking about what actually happened. In the last fight, as Taki and Makie learn of the deception of their task, Giuseppe uses lightning to fight off the final demon. And we've actually seen this lightning multiple times. See, as Makie sacrifices herself, when Taki nearly dies, Giuseppe has been pulling the strings this entire time, ensuring that they would survive, which is pretty fucked up. Giuseppe allowed Makie to get grape juiced like 3 times in order to push Taki into rescuing her and falling in love with her. The 2 main characters were heavily manipulated to achieve the ending a higher power wanted. You can see the uncertainty in both their eyes as they learn of this conspiracy. There's anger, but also acceptance. However, I find it very insidious. And to me, the twisted ending really hit home the true horror of Wicked City, and it absolutely has a heavy recommendation from yours truly. Man, did I love being able to cover Wicked City. This is like my perfect anime movie. It's old, it's weird, it's gross, it's violent. I love stuff like that. But that being said, there's a 75% chance that we got hit with a yellow dollar sign, which is why we have Patreon. If 10% of our subscribers were able to donate $1 per month, not only would the entire team be able to live completely independent of YouTube ad revenue, but we would be stable and we'd be able to make any kind of content that you guys want to watch and we want to make without having to worry about YouTube and their BS rules. So with that said, I would like to thank our very special patron of the week, Glassmith. My dude, thank you so much for your continued support. We very much appreciate your contributions to the channel and letting us make videos like this. I'm Mike, this is Bonsai Pop. Please check out our Patreon, and we'll see you next week.